This work of art was a really awesome piece for me when I saw it. It really moved me because it was so powerful and yet so simple. This is Impact of a Book by Jorge Mendez Blake. And what you'll see here is a brick wall. And if you notice, the wall is not straight. It's got a bend in the middle. And that bend in the middle is quite significant. And what's causing that bend in the middle is a book. And that's the zoom in part there at the bottom, where you can see just placing one little book in the ground is enough to disrupt an entire brick wall. Now, I think about this visually, and I think about mixes, and I came up with this graphic to explain how to think about mixing and EQ. Ideally, we have a whole mix that contains all the frequencies that we can hear. And in an ideal mix, we can hear all the frequencies clearly and all the instruments are clear. In fact, one of my favorite little sayings is that the mix is perfect when everyone's part is louder than everyone else's part, which is to say that like everybody can hear everybody and no one's fighting each other, and you have no problem accessing the thing that you want to listen to the most in that mix. If we take that whole mix as an ideal and learn to appreciate that, that's kind of where everybody starts. We start as music appreciation listeners. So we have mixes that we love. If we can listen a little harder, we might be able to listen to that mix and divide it into half and say, well, there's bass frequencies that are kind of like the lower end, and then there's the treble frequency stuff up in the higher end. And learning how to be able to listen to the high frequencies different than the low frequencies, this is a good way to start thinking about how to critically listen to music, but also how to think about restoring balance. And then if we listen a little harder, we might discover that there's actually two subsets of bass frequencies. There's bass and low mids. And then in the treble, there's like mids and highs. So we've now divided it into fourths, and we can enjoy that same mix and sort of zoom in our mind's eye, our ear's eyeball, on those specific areas of the mix. And then if we went a little further, we could divide that in half. Why not? And then we have 8 different sections of the audible spectrum we can really listen to and try to focus on for our critical listening. And beyond that, that's when we get into specific frequency ranges. And in a whole mix, we have an equal amount, or a balanced amount, I should say, not necessarily equal, but a flattering amount of all of the frequencies at the bottom of this line. And that constitutes what we're shooting for. Now, is it quantitatively the same? No. We saw the Fletcher-Munson curve before. We know that we don't hear low frequencies equal to mid frequencies. So there's going to be a difference in the amount of energy in our mixes and low frequencies. So quantitatively, that's not going to work out. But when we listen to it subjectively as humans, we will hear an even presentation of all instruments. Now, what happens when we place a book underneath the foundation of this mix, though? And this is where we'll see the whole mix start to fall apart. And just 2 decibels of 3.5 to 5K is enough to push that speech, harsh, mids, treble section out of whack. And that upsets the whole mix. And now we listen to the whole mix and we don't feel that solid brick wall anymore. It feels like something that's about to fall down or something that's broken. And accessing what the trouble is impossible when we're just looking at the whole mix part. But as you get better at listening and thinking about the frequencies that you're hearing, you can delve down into these subdivision parts better and better and better. And a professional, or should I say as well-seasoned expert EQ engineer can say, oh, I hear the problem is 4K immediately. Just as clearly as we can see that book underneath that brick and identify it and understand where the problem is coming from. So hopefully, we can see that just a little bit of this is enough to cause real issue. And so we should pay close attention to how we use EQ to make things sound better.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to view the full Mixing Essentials course, click the link that's on your screen now to learn more about becoming an Audio University member.